And we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superhero Cuts podcast. It's your boy Steve Hayes, joined by Comic Cuts per
Comic
usual.
Cuts.
How you doing, dog?
I'm good, bro. How's everything with you?
Good, man. Just woke up from a nap, so I'm still trying to wake myself up a little bit, but I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Before we do anything, please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. So you know when we post, as I say all the time, we're here to talk everything Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. That's what we do. But today you're probably going to get more Marvel and DC today. There's not a lot of real Star Wars news, to be honest, that's out. But we are going to start this episode talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to give our spoiler review. So, bro, just give me your first initial thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty because this is probably going to be a long talk.
Yeah,
Like this might take almost an hour to get through. So
for sure.
tell me your instant reaction to Guardians.
So, first of all, the Guardians are like a rock band that are superheroes in space. You know, they are just so cool. They have so much energy to them. They're so fun, and they were absolutely incredible. I think this was the best one yet. It was emotional. It was a ride. You know, every actor, carried their weight. High Evolutionary was amazing. Could be, like definitely the meanest villain in the MCU. It's hard to say the most savage because Thanos wiped out half of humanity, but the way he went about things, he definitely more savage than Thanos. Thanos had like a piece to him. High Evolutionary did not. I have a lot more to say, so but let's hear your first thoughts.
Yeah, so my first thought was, wow, this might go down as a top 5 MCU film in the next like 5 years. That was my first thought. Is dang, this is some of the best cinema I've seen in a long time. Dang, this is the best Guardians movie that's ever been created.
Yeah.
Dang, this is one of the best endings to a franchise as we know it. My dog is like jumping on me. I was like, dang, this is one of the best endings this year. Look, there she goes. Hey, mama. Hey, babe. Can you come get Ahsoka, please? But yeah, bro,
cool
that was
his dog's name's Ahsoka.
Yeah, named her after Star Wars. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. But man, that movie, oh my gosh, man, it was amazing. So my first reaction was, dang, this is one of the best. This is one of the best superhero films that we've ever seen, and we can't take this for granted. Guardians of the Galaxy was dark. It was darker than I expected. Like I knew it was going to get dark, but it was, and and I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say people that are soft, but a lot of people are going to say High Evolutionary is the meanest because of the animals. But in my opinion, I don't think I'll put High Evolutionary and Thanos' regard for humanity on the same level. Mm-hmm. I just think that High Evolutionary just had more of a I don't care type of like attitude, and his reasoning was kind of just for ego and pride, where Thanos actually thought he was saving the universe. Right. That would be the only difference.
But at the same time, like in the real world, a lot of the most evil people in history, they do all, veil everything they're doing as like social justice. They really do believe they're doing a good thing. Like, Hitler was a big social justice guy. He was like, we are doing this for the good of Germany and for the good of the world. So there is like a real world aspect to someone like Thanos coming in and saying like, we need to wipe out half of existence for the sake of the population. This world is finite. Our resources are finite. And, I think that was one of the things that made that story, so incredible. And, with the High Evolutionary, like he had no reason to be doing what he was doing, like you said, other than ego. And, with the animals, like, James Gunn really did kind of have you, feel for Rocket's friends in the beginning. they started off in this really dark place, and they didn't know anyone, and they met each other in captivity, and Rocket was about to free them all, and next thing you know, they all got murked by the High Evolutionary. Like, you know, if that doesn't hit you in the feels, like, I don't know what's with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So with this review, I kind of want to just hit certain points so we can, so people don't think that we're everywhere, because I'm like known to do like terrible reviews of movies.
I know. Yeah.
Because they always think that like I'm everywhere. So let's start with the Guardians, then we'll work our way around like the circle.
Okay.
So first off, with all the Guardians, I just want to say this: I love that this movie was based on Rocket, and I think that it was perfect. Number one, and let me just say this before we get into this: if this movie doesn't prove to you that James Gunn can't handle Superman legacy, I don't know what will. We are in good hands with Superman.
I don't think anyone will see this movie and think that he can't. I think there is the crowd that is still throwing a fit with their pacifier in their ass about Zack Snyder.
That's
but
all.
I will say, and before we get into the review, because I did want to say something about this, and I say it all the time about you can't find the people that doubted Pattinson now.
Oh, they're gone. They're nowhere to be found.
They're nowhere to be found. And when the DCU is like 2 or 3 movies in, you're not gonna be able to find the James Gunn doubters. But I'm starting to kind of think like, you know, where's the Fire James Gunn crowd? They're kind of getting quiet now. You know, everyone's talking about Guardians. I don't know if you've noticed, but IGN almost isn't talking about anything other than Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know.
This movie has taken over the internet in a way similar to the way Infinity War did. And, you know, the Fire James Gunn crowd has been very loud. And I haven't seen not one Fire James Gunn. I've seen, sell the Snyderverse to Netflix or restore the Snyderverse. Like, yo, you look like a brat. We got the Snyder Cut. It was great. Like, move on. You know, they're obviously, and by the way, if they don't want to put Snyder Cut in IMAX, you know why they don't want to put Snyder Cut in IMAX? Because they want all the focus on James Gunn and the DCU. And also they don't want to do anything for the Snyder fans on Twitter ever again, because they gave them the Snyder Cut, and what did they do? They spat it back in their faces. They're like, we want more, fuck you. That was their reaction. So why would they ever want to do something for you people again? And I was one of those people. But, I come on. Grow up.
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you said. So, yeah, man, if this movie doesn't show you that Gunn, as I said, he's got Superman's in good hands. That's all I'm going to say with that. So, starting with the box office, this did almost 300 million opening weekend. That's prime MCU numbers.
Within
That's actually
the 3 days.
Yeah, within the 3 days. That is actually the biggest opening for Guardians out of all the 3 movies. So that's a pretty big W for the MCU, because Ant-Man still basically hasn't broke even yet, which is a L. And excuse me. And even though the other movies have really like done well financially, there still has been, you know, the public opinion where like majority of people hated the content. So this is like the first movie since Endgame where the fandom seems to be united and seems to love it, you know. So this is a really good. It's a really good time that James Gunn, you know, or that Marvel released this. As I said, I think this should have been the first movie to start this phase, not Ant-Man Quantumania. I think this would have been way better. But but hey, man, I mean, we got it now. So starting with the Guardians, bro. As I said before, I think this study on Rocket was amazing. I also am happy that Rocket was out of the whole picture for the first half of the movie. I think that is a genius idea because his whole backstory is filling in the movie. And I do feel like if Rocket still played a big part in the movie during that time, I think it would have been too much Rocket, if that makes sense. Because not having Rocket explain his background, but having us see a bunch of his origin is making you put a bunch of questions in your mind. But the fact that he's not answering those questions because he's unconscious makes the movie scarier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And it made you feel for him that much more. You were like, oh, I really hope he pulls through. And, they kind of put his heart on his sleeve, trying to break his friends out. And, like the whole time, I texted you, like, I thought, or I said this to you on the phone when you saw it, I was 100% sure that some of them were going to die, and that was most likely Rocket, so that was a big shocker that he didn't and that he pulled through. And I also think it was important for them to center this one around Rocket, that he's going to be the captain of the new Guardians team, because Rocket was kind of always neck and neck with Peter. I shouldn't say neck and neck. Obviously, Peter Quill was the number one and Rocket was the number two, but Rocket kind of always saw himself as the number one, and Rocket obviously now became that number one. And, Peter Quill is seemingly, retired. I'm sure they'll bring him back in Secret Wars or something like that. But actually, maybe not, because they probably will want to put the spotlight on the new Guardians team.
Now, Star-Lord will be back for sure.
I hope he is.
The rumor is that he's about to become an Avenger, and that is such a good move for the MCU because they need a prime player, and Star-Lord is the perfect guy to put on a Avengers team right now.
And by the way, what a lot of people don't realize from the MCU, in the comics, Star-Lord, Peter Quill, is actually much more like Captain America. He's very strategic. He plans everything out for the team, and he's really good at calling the shots. And I hope that we see more of that side of him. I get why they went this direction. I think, to make him a bit of like silly and fun. And, that was like the tone that James Gunn told with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And they already had Captain America. But I would love to see that side of him. And I do think that it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like, listen, he went home to see his grandpa. He's matured through these 3 movies and the Avengers movies, and let him mature into a more accurate comic version of himself. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be cool to see. I wouldn't be against that at all. Yeah, man. So that's Rocket. Okay, and I do want to say this about Rocket as well, because when Rocket comes back kind of to life, it's not like we get this emotional scene where him and Peter Quill, like he said to Peter Quill, like, this is my past, this is what happened. No, I mean, he gets right back into battle, which is a very interesting way to kind of push the story forward, which I think was good as well. Man, this is one of the pace. Remember when I told you on the phone that the pacing in this movie is utterly perfect?
Yeah. By the way, I saw a couple of people complaining.
It's amazing.
About that. I feel like people who don't know how to talk about movies, their go-to complaint these days is, oh, well, the pacing wasn't good. The pacing wasn't good. Like,
they don't, and they don't understand what movie pacing actually is. Like a movie that is terribly paced is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I love that movie to death. I defend that movie to the pits of hell.
Yeah,
but that movie is terribly paced. It's all over the place. Like, they don't, like, Sam Raimi doesn't know where he's going 90% of the film.
Yeah.
But with this one,
I don't think it was his fault. I think it was Marvel's fault. I think Marvel wrote him, and they edited the shit out of it.
Well, no, I mean, and also, but they hired him so late. They hired him too late. He wasn't able to actually create his own stuff. It felt like, he had his own spin on it, but yeah.
And that guy knows how to pace movies. I mean, his Spider-Man trilogy those movies were paced so well.
Not Spider-Man 3, but yeah, I agree.
Right, but the first 2 really were.
I agree.
They tried to do too much with Spider-Man 3, but
this movie, bro, is like the pace is utterly perfect. Like, even when I saw Dungeons and Dragons, that's another movie that's terribly paced, but the beauty of the movie saves it. But it was like this was a fun watch. But as I said, when Rocket comes back, he's just legit like thrust it into the story, and he's ready to fight. Like, there's this one part that gets me where Gamora's like, "Let's get off of the high evolutionary ship," and he's like, "I'm done running." And then they both the whole team
Yeah.
just grabbed the strap and start walking, bro. I'm like, yo, this is fire. And then we get that epic,
Sweet till Brooklyn. That was pretty
yes. Then we get that epic freaking fight scene which is one of the best fight, fight choreographies I've ever seen in the MCU, and we've seen a lot of good ones. Man, James Gunn's a big loss for the MCU, man.
Again.
Yeah, James Gunn's a big loss for the MCU. I'm telling you, man. But yeah, that was awesome. So let's get to Star-Lord, because Star-Lord definitely took a backseat in this film.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him in this movie?
You know, listen, I still think he got his shine in. And I think that he did mature a lot, like kind of the way he was with Gamora in the end. You know, that obviously was a big heart loss from him. By the way, I want to say, I think I don't know if you saw the news, but James Gunn said recently that he did not like that Star-Lord punched Thanos when they were trying to take the gauntlet off.
Yeah.
And I think that's because James Gunn knows that in the comics, like, Star-Lord's a smart guy. He wouldn't, let his emotions get the better of him when the life of the planet's on the line. But listen, I think in Guardians 3, Star-Lord definitely took a backseat to Rocket, but I still think he got his shine in. It didn't feel like he wasn't a power player in the movie. When they were trying to save Rocket, he was the number one on that. He was the one that was not taking no for an answer. He was when everyone was like he was dead, it was him who was like, no, I am not losing him. And shout out to Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is a phenomenal actor, and shout out Marvel for always finding, like, they took on Robert Downey Jr. when no one would. They took on Chris Pratt when no one would, and these guys are like the biggest names in Hollywood right now. And Chris Pratt, he's just a great guy. Really seems to have a good heart and be a good guy. I have so much respect for him on and off the screen, and he deserves it all, man. He really does.
Yeah, it's a really big risk in your movie when you're taking your main character for the first two films and you're just kind of throwing him in the back. He's playing like the not angry, but he's really a leader in this film, which I really enjoy. I do feel like in the first two, he got made of such a joke that, and honestly, the first two Guardians movies made him come off as a terrible leader. So seeing him kind of like really be in his leadership bag, I am pissed off that he didn't have his masks nor his boots that make him fly. I don't understand why. And James Gunn was like, yeah, well, he was in a rush. I'm like, bro, don't shut up. Like that was such a dumb excuse.
I thought that made sense.
But it felt a little plain. Like it just felt like Star-Lord wasn't himself for the movie just because of that. But that's just me. Because I'm just so used to seeing that. I kind of wanted some of that.
Are so cool. The one thing I also will say is, like, I feel like a lot of Marvel movies, especially because it kicked off with so many origins, like, the Iron Man trilogy, the Captain America trilogy, the Avengers movies. A lot of the first of them are really the teams coming together, and Guardians 2, I actually always enjoy Guardians 2 more than Guardians 1. I love Guardians 1. But sometimes I think it's more fun to watch these teams when they're established already and they're all working together, rather than the first half of the movie learning who they are, seeing how they meet, etc. And I think that, a lot of these characters have been so developed that it just was like fertile ground for this movie to be the haymaker of the movie that it was. I mean, and when you think about it that way, even though Avengers Infinity War, they kind of were all separated, like, I think one of the things that movie made it work so well was that we all know these characters. We've been with these characters for a long time, and you didn't really have to educate the audience at all. And these characters really just got to be themselves in a really tense moment, and they got to shine. Like I said, and Peter Quill, you finally kind of got to see him show his leadership skills, not really be clowning around, making the more mature decisions, and I thought that was really, really cool. And man, I just love this movie. I love that it started in nowhere, right off of the holiday special. I love the holiday special. I don't know how some people complained about that. I thought it was absolutely amazing. But yeah, great movie. Chris Pratt absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, Quill was amazing. And as I think giving him, because I mean, at the same time, like he played a backseat, but then he didn't play a backseat. He was like the main initiator in saving Rocket. So it was also a big part too. So yeah, I enjoyed him. Now let's get into Nebula. All right, Nebula is another big player in this film. Nebula takes the spot that kind of Gamora filled, and I do think that there might be a romance between him and Nebula eventually, which is hilarious because Karen Gillan in real life is actually fire. Like the girl that plays Nebula is drop dead gorgeous. So that's actually hilarious that he's falling off of like not the ugly part of her, but the destroyed part of her. But I do think that Nebula, seeing what she's going through from Guardians to through the Avengers films to now, seeing her embrace the family finally was the most calming thing to watch in this movie. The fact that she wasn't like really like saying like, I don't want to be a part of this team, I'm forced to be on the team, but she's actually loving the fact that she's a Guardian. And we obviously got some of that in we obviously got to see that in Endgame, which was a breath of fresh air, but we got to see that fleshed out, that Nebula is actually like a part of the Guardians family. And to me, that was one of the most beautiful things. Like the one part about Nebula that got me choked up was when she was on the high evolutionary ship, and basically it was when Rocket first woke back up. He started talking on the intercoms, and Nebula starts breaking down crying on the intercoms. Like you would like in the old movies, you would have never thought that Nebula would break down crying because Rocket's alive. But her and Rocket, had a really like they had a connection because they both come from Rocky origins. Yeah, exactly. Nebula's arc was done very well. I mean, it was done to darn near perfection.
Yeah.
And Gamora, and I'm not going to talk about Gamora because we're going to talk about her soon. But Nebula's arc in this freaking movie was done to top tier perfection. And
Thanos in the comic and the movies treated her like absolute dog shit, and I agree. So I just feel like the Guardians are kind of always like that B team that's really an A team, and she just fits in so well with them.
Agreed.
And on that B team, but A team front, like Rocket, he was, experiment that was going to be left for dead, and next thing you know, he's like becomes the captain of the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy that becomes this like super team. So cool. But I think that Nebula, I would love to see more Nebula. So awesome that she's probably going to get back together with Quill. She's very much still in the MCU.
Yeah. She also plays like the mom role in this movie. Like she kind of like it's kind of like her and Peter, like the mom and dad of the Guardians now. And I think that's a great place for her to be in this film. Not to mention the new enhancements to her armor was nuts. Like the fact that her arm could turn into this like look like a vibranium.
That was like Iron Man nanotech shit. That was
exactly.
Crazy.
And did you even see that like she had those wing attachments when Adam Warlock first came in, and then she was flying, bro? She was OP in this movie. I ain't gonna lie, she was OP.
For real. I can't wait till we talk about Warlock though.
I know. Hey, you want to hit him now?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Hey, go ahead. You started.
First of all, as great as he was in this movie, like I am still kind of upset that he only got 10 minutes of screen time. But like, you know, when Will Poulter was first cast as Adam Warlock, the guy that owns the comic shop that I local to, he was like, you know, upset about it. And he's like an older guy, you know, been reading comics since like the 70s. And he was like, and by the way, Warlock's like heyday was in the 70s. So I disagree with that comment, but I'm going to get into that. So I don't think he was wasted because I think there was a purpose for it, but I get your comment. So, you know, first of all, like, and then once they finally showed Will Poulter as Warlock, you know, like that is fucking Adam Warlock, you know, probably one of the best, like close to comic renditions in the MCU, you know, and he acted just like Warlock would, you know, incredible. And for those of you that don't know, Adam Warlock is the guy that, you know, won in the real Infinity War comic. You know, but I'm just happy that, listen, I don't think he was wasted in this movie because I think the purpose of him being there was to get people excited for the next Guardians team whenever they do it, you know, rather than having to sell tickets to a new Guardians of the Galaxy team and you only know it's Rocket and you don't really know what you're getting into. Now it's Rocket, it's Adam Warlock. I think it makes an easier sell for that. And I think that was the purpose of him being in this movie, period. You know, and I thought he was going to have a bigger role in this movie when he was going to be in it, especially considering that Guardians Volume 2, the post-credit scene was kind of, you know,
look at the freak, like look at the compare. Look how perfect that freaking looks.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like that's darn near spot on right there, bro.
Spot on.
You can't hate on that.
You can't. And, you know, phenomenal actor, kind of like, you know, an arrogant, childish baby, but like super powered, you know, kind of a good guy, but kind of a dick. Like that's Adam Warlock. And, yeah, you know, absolutely loved it. Love seeing him. Love the Will Poulter casting. And, you know, it worked for me because now I'm super stoked for Guardians, the new Guardians team. Rocket and Adam Warlock have me absolutely sold.
Yeah, that is actually a great comparison to kind of show how Adam Warlock was introduced. Because Vision was kind of OP when he first came to the MCU. He still is OP, but
yeah, and so, they have the Infinity Stones on their
exactly.
Foreheads. Even though in this it's not an actual Infinity Stone, it's just a diamond or whatever the case may be. But
and Pop Called King, and Pop Called King, there's a connection between those two. Don't forget about that. There is a connection between Warlock and Vision. There is, and I'm making a video on it soon. It's funny that you say that because I was literally just writing a script about how him and Vision are going to be connected in the future of the MCU. But I think that Adam Warlock in this movie was I think it was perfect. You know, and this is the thing, Cuts. If Adam Warlock was in this movie for 20 minutes, even 30, he would have stole the show.
That's a good point.
And when you have this character where he is legit OP powerful, like this dude's basically like Superman, bro. Like, I mean, he can fly, he shoots these crazy energy objects. I mean, he brutally injured like 90% of the Guardians, bro. Like he blasted Rocket into oblivion, you know?
Yeah.
So when you have a character that powerful, it's just hard to, you know, put them in the story without them destroying the story.
Right. And they wanted to shine on Rocket. I also loved his like redemption, you know, because Rocket was in that whole situation because of Warlock, but they didn't really hold it against Warlock because they also knew where he was coming from. And
they know he had no control of his actions, and also the fact that he saved Peter Quill in the end was the big big redemption. The only part that I wanted to see was because, you know, in the comics, Adam Warlock actually ends up fighting the High Evolutionary. So I wanted to see that, but because, you know, obviously the High Evolutionary cooked him. Remember in the beginning of the film when he was pushing his body into the whatever it's called, into the wall or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, but hey, I'm totally fine with his positioning in this movie. My only complaint is this: don't let this man wear that freaking Guardians costume. He needs a cape. I'm sorry.
I agree.
His
I agree.
his
They don't have
costume
enough.
was
That's
fire, bro.
yeah. That's the one thing like Marvel doesn't have as much. Like DC is big on capes, but Marvel they don't really do capes like that. But Warlock needs a cape. And by the way, if anyone does want to read any Warlock comics, start with Strange Tales from the 70s. They are very like acid trippy 70s ish. They're fucking dope.
Did you also
Uh,
peep that one of the Ravagers had the same magic as Doctor Strange?
I did it. That's pretty crazy.
So the High Evolutionary is still alive. I wonder where he is. Yeah, he's definitely still alive.
Yeah.
But if I don't know if you remember, but remember when the Guardian ship got raided by Gamora? Do you remember? Did you know that they entered
How many times did you see this?
5?
Damn.
Yeah, it's bad. Did you? Did, but so remember when Gamora raided the ship, right?
No, I got to see it again. Like and as much as I would love to go to the movies to do it again, and I have a list, so it's like not even a big deal. I'm just gonna wait till it comes out, and I'm gonna fucking binge it like 3 times.
You remember the scene? Yeah. So in the scene, bro, Gamora's and the Ravagers raid the ship, and this alien is legit using Doctor Strange's magic, like, or not the highest magic, but the same magic that he
It
uses.
looks the same, or it was the same. Like
No, bro.
circle.
The whole entire finger thing, the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
I swear to you. So I'm trying to find the answer to why that is that. So, but yeah, dude, it was crazy. And when you rewatch it, just make sure you take a look out for that. Okay, so yeah, exactly. But Paco King, the portals, and it had me shook because I was like, how in the world, like, can we see that?
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that now.
It had me shook. Okay, so now we've gone through where we at. We did Adam Warlock. Okay, now let's move on to this. Probably be the shortest one, Groot. This is my favorite Groot so far. I don't like Baby Groot that much. Yeah. Baby Groot is so annoying. So I'm so happy that, and I hope that going forward, I would love to get Vin Diesel's voice as Groot for the rest of the Guardians, like 10 year. I think it's time for him to grow more of a personality. I think it's time for Vin Diesel to kind of talk more. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You want to talk about OP? He was powerful as hell in this movie.
Like the Hulk, bro. He's basically like the Hulk.
Yeah. And like, dude, he looks like a jacked adolescent. Like, that was dope.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. I did want to see more emotion from Groot when Rocket was down, just knowing because we saw in Infinity War how close they were, and I do feel like but it felt like a minor snub because I don't think James Gunn wanted that from the start. Them two to have such a close relationship.
Right.
But I wanted Groot to be a little more hurt about the whole.
They also started off together, like in the first Guardians when no one knew each other and they were on Xandar. Groot and Rocket, they were trying to get the orb with the Infinity Stone. They were teamed up already. Everyone else was meeting each other, fighting over the orb for the first time. But, Rocket and Groot, they were together. Granted, that was OG Groot, not Baby Groot.
Yeah, exactly. But it just seemed like, bro, that when Rocket went down, Groot was just like, yeah, like, it's whatever. Like, we're going to go say, you know what I mean? But other than that, I think Groot was a great in this movie. Now let's hit some Gamora, okay? Because Gamora is obviously the oddball out of the bunch. This is not the same Gamora. She died, the original Gamora in Avengers Endgame or Infinity War. Were you expecting the old Gamora to fall back in love with Peter Quill?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked. But I also think they made her look like noticeably different than the Gamora that we knew. And I think, like, listen, they made it pretty obvious that Peter Quill was maturing, and that was a big part of this movie. And I think part of that was moving on from Gamora. And I also think like James Gunn was really upset about the the punch in Infinity War. And I think that one of his ways of like trying to redeem Peter Quill for that was like, listen, this girl is not the same Gamora. She doesn't know you. Like, you kind of have to overcome that. And I think that was part of it.
Did you know he said that he was going to kill her off in Guardians 2 at first?
He was gonna. Sorry, can you repeat that?
James Gunn said that he was going to kill her off in Guardians 2.
Damn, I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy.
But then Kevin Feige was like, "No, we're actually going to kill her off in Avengers: Infinity War."
Right. Which
so he had to make a change. But like that's kind of crazy though that he was planning to already kill her off, bro. Like it's kind of nuts. Right. But yeah, he said Gamora's done. Yeah, I don't think we've seen Gamora's ending. I think she's going to be an Avenger. Keep it 100.
Yeah.
I think Gamora and Star-Lord are going to be Avengers.
Listen, I really hope they are, but like, just because here's the thing. Right now, half the OG Avengers, the best ones, were out of Marvel's control, being Exit Stage Right, being Iron Man, being Cap. That they didn't really have a choice with those two, and they already ruined Hulk. They ruined Thor. My point being is they don't have a lot of room with the OG Avengers, and you would think that because of that, they wouldn't have wasted Thor the way they did in Love and Thunder. And, you would think that Marvel's headspace, they would be like, okay, we need to do everything in our power to make that Avengers roster fucking awesome. But like, then they go and waste Thor. So like, I don't know. And they're bringing in, they're nerfing Doctor Strange 2 to bring in America Chavez. And like, so I don't know. I just think that like, I think you know what I'm trying to say. They should be doing everything in their power to make that Avengers roster great. And the characters that they have left that they should be, making dominant, they're totally nerfing.
Yeah, but they're doing that so Kang can defeat them. Like, I think there's a reason why they're so weak. Because Kang's going to cook all of them. I mean,
so you think Kang's going to cook Thor?
With ease. With ease, bro.
Yeah.
With ease. Comic Thor or not, bro. Kang's cooking.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of people saying High Evolutionary is a better villain than Kang. Listen, Guardians 3 may be a better movie than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but Kang is a much better villain than the High Evolutionary.
Kang is Thanos level, bro. Kang, Jonathan Majors' Kang is like
he's the best villain the MCU ever had.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Off
a bad movie. Off a terrible movie.
I didn't think it was a terrible movie.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say terrible, but yeah. I'm not even going to say bad, but like he was in a movie that is very much weaker compared to what Thanos was first introduced in, and Kang the Conqueror carried that film. Like Jonathan Majors as Kang was exactly. It was a perfect freaking yes, and I agree. The High Evolutionary gave you that Thanos or Kang the Conqueror feel, which I think was good because we need more villains in the MCU that make you feel like they're that guy, that they're that powerful. When you're looking at characters like Zemo, you're like, okay, like I get you can make things happen behind the scenes, but you're not powerful. So I love the High Evolutionary kind of being in this and kind of showing us that he's that guy. But Kang is a whole and it's okay that a lot of you guys don't read comics, but listen to me clear. And I've read darn near all of the Kang comics at this point because I've been diving so deep into Kang the Conqueror. Like I've read almost all of them. Kang's power level is levels beyond any of these guys. Mm-hmm. Levels beyond Thanos, levels beyond any villain we've seen in the MCU. Ultron, they don't hold a candle to this man, bro. Where he comes from, the Infinity Stones don't mean anything. They're like little freaking Skittles.
Yeah, I mean, Kang could snap your entire timeline like that. Like, so, it doesn't matter if you're Ultron. It doesn't matter if you're Thanos and you have the Infinity Stone. Kang could literally end your existence, literally like this.
Yeah,
Thanos has
Kang's like God, bro.
Stones.
Kang's literally like God. And then when he takes the Beyonders powers in Secret Wars, no one's stopping that man, bro.
Yeah.
And you're right. Dr. Doom is the only one that could take on Kang. He is the only one. And in the comics, Dr. Doom cooks Kang.
Yeah, and
because Dr. Doom is him. And Dr. Doom is on a level, and Dr. Doom's on that same level as Kang. Dr. Doom is one of the greatest sorcerers in any type of lore of all time.
And he also is like
he is the greatest Marvel genius. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Doom and let's make this clear. Dr. Doom is the greatest Marvel villain of all time. There's no other way around that. He's the GOAT. He's the Michael Jordan, the LeBron.
And that's who they're gonna bring in after Kang. Like
he might even be in Secret Wars.
Yeah. But like, it really is. I mean, like your top 5 villains are probably in no specific order. Is probably Doom, Kang, Thanos, Galactus, and probably Ultron, maybe Magneto.
Kingpin, maybe. Probably Kingpin.
Kingpin's street level, but he's definitely up there.
I just think I feel like you should always add a street level villain in there. So I would say I was a Kingpin.
Fair.
That is a fair take.
Yeah,
I think that's very fair.
That is fair.
That is very fair. No, it's a fair choice. So so we talked. Where we at? We were at Gamora. But yeah, as I said, I think that Gamora being with the Ravagers was the first word to me, but it makes sense for the movie. She'll be an Avenger. I promise you guys that. But trust me when I say she'll be an Avenger. And we kind of talked about the High Evolutionary, but the High Evolutionary was OP in this film. I feel like we didn't get to see much of his power level, which was fine because with the very few scenes we got, you knew that he was him, so I have nothing against that. But
it was more like, everyone's been complaining since the Batman came out that Marvel doesn't do like character studies. Here you go.
Yeah, you got 2 deep ones. And also it was dope how to see how this where Nova's people comes from the High Evolutionary, And now that we're here, does it make you feel like this is how I feel, bro? I don't think we're going to get Nova in the MCU, and I really think that Kevin Feige is going to make Adam Warlock what Nova was supposed to be. Just saying.
Interesting.
That's kind of how it's feeling.
Yeah.
Because this dude's from Xandar, bro.
Right. What's also interesting is a lot of people compare Nova to the Green Lantern, which, listen, I think they're very different, but who knows? Like, once the Green Lantern comes out, they're probably not, the way they. I mean, I'm trying to make the comparison to Aquaman and Namor.
It's just that Nova was the perfect character to introduce into the Guardians, and it's like, how much longer are you gonna wait to introduce this dude, bro?
Yeah,
right? And it's starting to get a little annoying because I'm a Nova fan, and it's like, bro, like, how much more are we gonna do this? So it's starting to piss me off a tiny bit. And I'm gonna get into some other stuff when we talk Secret Invasion because I have a couple of things that I'm expecting from Secret Invasion, a lot at the moment. With just Nick Fury and where I want him to be positioned after this film. But anyways, High Evolutionary is one of the best villains we've seen in Marvel. High Evolutionary is violent. He's dark. He's the crazy mad scientist. The fact that we got to see the animals turn mean and crazy, that was freaking horrifying. I loved it. Also seeing the fact that he literally didn't care about life at all. He legit was just killing these animals like it was nothing. It was crazy.
Crazy.
So
and they were
I was happy about that.
Sweet little innocent animals.
Yeah, and he did just create animals. He created a bunch of just regular life. So this dude was viewed as God to a lot of people. So, it was like the way that it felt was that he was kind of the culmination of all of the other villains that they faced in the past 2 Guardians films. And so I was very happy to see that. I also am shocked though that he hasn't ran into Captain Marvel. Maybe they
Uh,
have, maybe they haven't,
yeah,
but that would have
yeah,
been an interesting beef to see because she's all around the galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Hold on, he just said something. He said like with Thanos, he was a great villain, but I didn't nearly hate him as much as I hate the High Evolutionary. Yeah, and that's because James Gunn taskfully went to the darkest place possible, but which is animals. Animals is a
Yeah,
soft place for everyone.
yeah,
So when you are torturing little cute Rocket and all these other cute animals, it's pinching something in your soul. Like, bro, it made me want to go hug my bro. I was cuddling with my dog after the film. Like, I was thinking about my dog the whole time. I'm like, damn, like
me too,
I gotta
me
go see
too.
my dog after this dog. Like, yeah, I felt bad. So
Mm.
yeah, man, James Gunn, hands down, great film, great film. I think that's everyone. I mean, other than the other side characters, I'm not really going to touch on.
Yeah, yeah,
But the side characters played a good role. The fact that we got to see Nowhere, again as usual. I mean, this movie was amazing. I have nothing really bad to say about this film. I was happy altogether.
yeah. And by the way, like, it, I feel like it was perfect timing with the fire James Gunn, fire James Gunn. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's that dude, bro. He's him. So stop it.
Yeah,
So okay, now let's get into some minor news and then we'll wrap up. We're not going to keep you guys too long this time because next week's probably gonna be a long episode because we got a lot of stuff to cover, man. Whew. We got some movies to cover, some news covered next week. But yeah, okay. So this pissed me off. Okay, shout out to IG. No, screw IG. Okay, shout out to IGN. They have the worst ratings on Instagram. Don't even get me started. I low key want to pull it up on Instagram right now, but I don't feel like putting in my password and everything. But IGN said that Iron Man 3 is the best Tony Stark movie. Okay, let's break down this lie
wait,
that
they said
IGN
it's the
told.
Iron Man movie or Tony?
Tony Stark movie, and it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
I don't look. Even Popcorn King said WTF, bro. I just don't think you get the most character growth in this movie. I disagree. I disagree. To tell me that Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 aren't the best Tony Stark movies, that's crazy to me. How do you feel about that opinion?
listen, I think, like, first of all, you know, Iron Man 3 is based off of the comic Extremis, and the comic is much better than the movie, even though it's like a direct copy. Number one. Number two, how could you say that 3 is a better Tony Stark movie than 1 and 2? In number 1, he invented the Iron Man armor out of a fucking cave and then basically shut his company down for dealing weapons to people he didn't like. Not people he didn't like, terrorists. Number 1. Number 2, Iron Man 2, you dealt with him having to innovate to save his life, and you touched on his alcoholism and, like, I don't know, Iron Man 3, listen, yes, it's a very Tony Stark movie, but, like, so were the first two, and they were both better movies. So, I don't know. I feel like IGN did this to increase their comments for the day. A lot of these pages that you see when they post something that, like, they do this because they sell ads, and, like, what clickbait is. There's also comment bait. And, and when people see something like that, they hit two buttons. They hit the share button and they hit the comment button. And both of those drive the algorithm and they drive the metrics. And the metrics don't decipher whether it's a positive reaction or a negative reaction. A reaction, they all count for the same number. So it makes no difference. So you got to keep that in mind when you read things like that. And it should make you, when you know this, it should make you think, is IGN credible or are they full of shit because they say stuff for clickbait and comments?
Exactly. IGN is always capping, bro. They're always capping, man. And IGN, I don't care if you hate me. I don't want to work for you guys anyway. Sorry. I don't need your endorsement. So I can talk about you all I want.
Yeah.
Like, screw IGN. I don't care.
All it would take to work for you guys is, you know what? Mission Impossible 7. What would you rate it? 7.
Exactly, dude. Yo, let let me just tell you guys, me and Comic Cuts could legit be writers for comicbook.com today. Like we could apply right now and get the job with no effort. So IGN don't need anything from you. Sorry, buddy. But
Yeah.
I will say this, man. IGN, thank you for the content. Because this is one of the most terrible takes. Because I mean, Iron Man 3 is number one, the weakest movie of the three. Number one, because we literally get teased, we literally get blueballed with the idea of the Mandarin. And then when you see what we get in Shang-Chi, it pisses you off even more that we didn't get the Mandarin.
Yeah.
You know? So no, that's number one. But number two, how is Iron Man 3 the best Tony Stark movie when he legit puts his pride, right? And literally calls out a world-renowned terrorist while are they married at that point? No, they're not married. While his girlfriend, darn near wife at this point, lives in the same house and putting her in danger in the people that he loves. How is that the best Tony Stark movie? And then the ending is obviously he loses, but like, where is like the big character like development other than the fact that his house gets destroyed and he basically like is kind of like not putting Iron Man to the side, but like the ending just him just taking his armor and starting over. It's not really. And yes, he had like PTSD and stuff like that, but like, how is that the best Tony Stark movie when we get Iron Man 1 to where we see this man is a playboy, philanthropist, and egomaniac, which he always is, and then we end up seeing him get all that stripped away. He has to build his armor from scratch, and then he becomes cocky again. And then someone steals a second, and he legit has to put his life on the line again when he didn't want to. Like, and then like I just don't understand that thought process. It makes no sense to me at all.
And I think he is by far the greatest character the MCU has ever had.
Yeah,
and
even Iron Man 2, like, bro, he was alcoholic, bro. Like. And he was using the alcohol. Oh my god! It's just Iron Man 2 was such a deep film, bro. Because Iron Man 2, sorry.
No, you go. You on?
I'm sorry. It's just like he literally is using alcoholism to cope with the idea that he's dying. Like that's a deep concept that many people don't understand in Iron Man 2. Like
I think they played it a little soft because it's Disney, but they did touch on it, which I appreciated. The other thing, like, dude, that opened up with, I privatized world peace. You want my armor? Sorry, you can't have it. Oh, is that hammer on the screen? How the fuck are you going to say that scene, like, that scene alone made Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 3?
Yes. That's the best Tony Stark that we got. That was fire, bro. So, yeah, IGN, big L, change that up, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, Rhodey is in Secret Invasion, and I'm going to read what Don Cheadle said about Rhodey. Let me pull this up for you guys because this is some important stuff. And shout out to CBM Scene. They are friends of the show. They're always showing us love. Follow them on Instagram. They literally give you breakdowns of trailers, shows, news. Really dope stuff. He's probably. Oh, so you think Rhodey's a Skrull?
There are going to be people that are like big characters and are close to Nick Fury that are going to be revealed as Skrulls. It's inevitable.
Yep.
It's inevitable. Yep. So it's a good call.
I'm going to read this to you. Okay, it says this. When the show begins, Rhodey has graduated from Air Force Colonel to right hand to the president, and Cheadle describes him as someone working closely. In this one, he finds himself not directly at odds is with the White House to help contain threats, but somewhat on the other side of where Fury. Oh my God. Sorry. He literally typed this in the most wildest way. Let me reread this, guys. I'm sorry. Him describes him as okay. I'm going to start over because I got confused. When the show begins, Rhodey has graduated from Air Force Colonel to right hand to the president, and Cheadle describes him as someone working very closely. And this one, he finds himself not directly at odds with the White House. At odds is, I don't know what this dude is saying. It sounded right when I read it. It was somewhat okay. All right. So basically, just to sum up
That's
this,
Stevie M's
yeah,
team.
yeah. It just sounded crazy. Okay, so first off, just to like summarize the first paragraph, Rhodey is working closely with the government to contain threats, and the rumor is that he's going to end up becoming the vice president in Captain America: New World Order, and we might be seeing him fight against Sam. It's possible. It says this, but it says this. This one feels much closer to a movie like Bourne Identity or something that's more along the tone of a 70s movie. It's not as much about the bells and whistles of big special effects. It's more about the intrigue and drama, the espionage and double crosses. And I still think it fits perfectly with what the MCU is able to do and pull off. The fun part about it is that we are going to continue to explore Rhodey and in some ways explain for the first time or it oh my god, to explore Rhodey and in some ways for the first time get to see what makes him tick. We understand his physical challenges, but we haven't really yet dug into a lot of his emotional and psychological challenges. So the big thing that comes out of this, I'm sorry if I sound confusing rereading this. It just like it sounded so much clearer when I read it earlier. But basically, bro, this movie is going to be an intro into Armor Wars for us, which is a really big deal. It is a really big deal to put like kind of the intro to Armor Wars in this, which makes me think, right? Because I know I talked to you about the secret invasion rumors from a couple of months ago. If you don't want to hear the rumor, then leave. But the rumor was that hopefully Secret Invasion will have WandaVision. Bro, WandaVision was fire. Comic Cuts is a hater, but
it didn't have the best effect on audiences.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, bro. No, audience did
bro.
not spill over WandaVision. Audience did not spill over WandaVision. No, they not.
I know plenty of people that hated that shit.
Wow, that's well, man. Well, they're just terrible people, man. I ain't gonna lie. But I will say this though, man. This is where I need Nick Fury after this. I need Shield back. Number one, Shield should have been back by this point. I don't know why the heck Shield didn't come back in Avengers Endgame, and I need that Spider-Man Unlimited team working for Shield. That's what I want. Spider-Man doesn't need the tech, but I want to see Spider-Man or let me see this. I want to see Nick Fury kind of being the man to take this young Avengers team to the next level. And I think Secret Invasion going into Armor Wars is going to position that idea. But back to like about Secret Wars in general, I need Nick Fury to actually be the hero. I love that Rhodey's going to be involved, but I don't want Rhodey to save the day. And I don't think that he is. But Nick Fury has to solve this himself because he's the one that's dug his teeth so deep in the scroll crap. And this makes you even think, bro. What if the people in Winter Soldier were Skrulls the whole time? It just makes you think about something. It just like bro,
the Hydra people.
It just makes you think, bro, because to me, it's like if these people were involved in the MCU government the whole entire time, how much impact did they actually have? And how closely was Nick Fury working with them? Is Maria Hill a Skrull?
That's what like you think about it in the comic. But the thing is like I feel like that is a cheap move for the MCU to do because it's so easy to do it now when you don't have to worry about the stakes of retroactively saying something. Everything that they put out pretty much has been successful. You know, they've built it up to this point. They could retroactively say anything. And, you know, it doesn't really make a difference because everything already happened. So I just think that's a cheap move, number one. And number two, you know, I love that it's going to be more of like a thrilling drama than a special effects thing. And I think that that's going to have a pivotal role in, if it's successful, in how they're going to go about Secret Wars. Because remember, the Jonathan Hickman 2015 Secret Wars comic, which is the specific Secret Wars that they're using for the Avengers Secret Wars, is not a big battle like Infinity War Endgame was. It really is the character study rivalry between Reed Richards and Doctor Doom.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, I agree. And for me personally, bro, I just want Secret. I mean, I want Secret Invasion to end where, Nick Fury is the guy to start Shield back up because we need like with Sword and all this stuff, we need Shield in the MCU. And I also think that for Rhodey to be in Secret Invasion, I'm not against it at all, but I am happy that this is positioning Armor Wars. And I want to see Ironheart in this show as well, because if she's going to be in this show, if she's going to be in this Armor Wars movie, we have to see how she traces in this somehow. I think that a lot of movies are going to be hinted to in this film. Like I expect some Captain America New World Order stuff. I expect some Armor Wars stuff. I expect a lot of grounded content that has to revolve with the government to be in this film. Would it be shocked if we get a Skrull Zemo too while we're at it? Not just saying.
Yeah,
so
that would be crazy.
Yes. So I'm very excited with that. So that's but me and you both think that Rhodey being in Secret Invasion is a big W. I heard rumors that Rhodey is going to be piecing back Stark Tech after the Skrull steal the tech. Yes, and Armor Wars, yes, because the rumor, okay. So basically, if you watch the trailer in Secret Invasion, right? But what is happening is that they are building a machine to create the Super Skrull. And basically, bro, the machine that they're building is similar to what Steve used in Captain America 1 when he became Captain America. And so basically they've been stealing Stark Tech to recreate that, and that's how they create the Super Skrull that we have seen in the trailer. And so that is one of the reasons why Rhodey is going to be in this film, because they stole that tech, so Rhodey has to get that back. So yeah, man, it's going to be very important to the future of the MCU, like very important, bro. And the rumor is that the Skrulls still keep most of the tech, which is going to make them super powerful. And don't be shocked if we get a Skrull movie going against the Avengers after Secret Wars. Just saying, because they're coming, baby.
Sick.
They're freaking coming. Yeah. Okay, pause. Okay, so we're going to get into our last topic of the night, which is crypto.
We got to do the Little Mermaid review.
Bro, I'm not talking about that crap. we can do that on our freaking fantasy. Wait, the Little Mermaid is out already?
I don't think it's out, but I saw John Campia's episode today.
Oh God!
About it. So I think they must have showed it at some CinemaCon event. Or
did he hate it? Did he hate it?
I don't know. I didn't listen to the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a chance, man. But I
hope it's good. You know me though. I don't do musicals.
Yeah, I know you hate. I know you hate musicals. Yeah, I have nothing against Haley Bailey being Ariel at all.
Yeah,
I have nothing against it.
I don't either.
Yeah, a lot of people are tripping. Look, guys, this is how I feel about roles. Okay, there are not a lot of because a lot of people get mad when a black character gets casted. There's not a lot of dope original black characters. So, in my opinion, if I was the studio, I would just make my own character that's black and just make them dope. That's what I would do. But when it comes to roles like Ariel or Cinderella, I think those are raceless roles.
Right.
I think a Mexican girl, a white girl, I think anybody could play that role. Now, if we're talking about Aladdin, you obviously want someone that is of the Middle Eastern descent to play the role, right? There's just certain things where it's just common sense. So that's all about that.
White being Mulan or
exactly.
But also it's important for what really made it make sense to me was seeing little kids look up to Miles Morales. That's important, and that's something that I never had to think twice about growing up. And
exactly. But you also got to think, right? He's a made-up character. They actually made the character, and that's why a lot of people have an issue with Sam becoming Captain America, because some people feel we made him more important by putting him in the Captain America mantle, which I can I see why you would agree with that. My only thing to you is that's in the comic book, so you got to shut up about it. The comics did it, and to me, it was perfect in the comics. I have nothing against it. Would I have wanted Bucky to become Captain America first? Yes, I would have, but I'm not mad that Sam is
It's still a
Captain America.
W. It's 100% a W. As long as they don't like, I'll have a problem if they have him do the type of monologue that he did at the end. Like, listen, you want to make a black guy Captain America, like, go for it, but don't make him be like a guy to launder in activist talking points.
Yeah, just leave it out of our movies. Like leave it out.
Yeah.
And personally, like where it looks like they're going with Sam, I'm all on board, dude. Like New World Order, I'm like, and me and you keep talking about this. So all of the haters for New World Order on the superhero cut show, we're saying that it's going to be fire. So
yeah, that's gonna be a top tier.
I hated the fact that yeah, but the ending was super mid, man. The ending was super mid. Like he literally proved this point in the end of the show. He really didn't have to say anything.
Right, exactly.
Because
it would have been way more powerful if he didn't.
Yes, because to me, I think that what the MCU did well in the past is that they were able to talk about cultural issues, but not by mentioning it, by showing you what the whole Winter Soldier movie is about government oversight, which is a problem that we have today in our country. Yes,
everything.
Exactly. And they talked about it in such a beautiful way by actually making it the center point of a movie without involving our current issues. And that's the way you got to do it. Like you have to, like when you use culture issues, you have to line up that culture with what's happening in the universe, not with what's happening in 2023. Right. If that makes sense to you. And that's what they did in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear what Joe Biden or Donald Trump are saying on TV.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah,
we don't care. And even Black Panther, Black Panther 1 is legit. Could have been the most activistic movie, but they didn't do that. Like obviously they had jokes where they call white people colonizers, which I think was hilarious. But
I actually hated that.
Yeah, she was like colonizer. I just thought it was stupid and funny, but you got to think about it, bro. Even Marvel, sometimes I'm like, bro, you guys got to look at the blueprint of what you created. Black Panther works because yes, it honors African culture, which it does very well, but also, bro, the movie's freaking dope, bro.
Right.
The movie itself is just dope. So there's they have it. Look, I just hope that they get this right with Falcon. With Captain America New World Order, because with everything that I'm reading right now, it's super hard, and I'm loving every single bit of it. Okay, so Crypto the Super Dog is going to be in Superman Legacy, bro. This made me so happy. I used to watch the show back in the day, Crypto the Super Dog, bro. Did you watch that back in the day?
Dude, I didn't even know it was a show.
Dude, that was one of the best movies ever, bro. I mean, that was one of the best shows ever, bro. Yeah. As I said, man, I think
we grew up in different decades, so there's probably a lot of things that you've seen that were a little bit young for me at the time.
We're at 599 subscribers. One more subscriber, and we'll be at 600 subs, guys.
I said to you we were at 595.
Yeah.
I said we're gonna hit 600 today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. But yeah, dude, I think. But yeah, look, man, these are things that we should have gotten in Man of Steel, in the original Superman. See, and this is why James Gunn is one of the best directors, because one of the things about James Gunn is a top 3 comic book director and writer, and he's going to be one of the best execs next to Kevin Feige. The one thing about James Gunn is that James Gunn never forgets the little things. One of the main reasons why Star-Lord is so big is because of the mask and the fact that he has flying shoes. Those are one of the greatest accessories to Star-Lord. Rocket, his gun, Gamora and her sword. James Gunn is an accessories guy when it comes to heroes, and the fact that he's not missing a single beat with this Superman movie, with having things like Crypto the Super Dog, that's why James Gunn is so great.
And by the way, two things. Number one, Crypto being in Superman Legacy is so genius because everyone loves dogs, and adding a dog to Superman, it's not that it makes it lighthearted, it's that it makes it classic. It makes it iconic that this Superman has a dog is going to make him stand out that much more, be that much more remembered, and probably sell more tickets. It's easier to tell your girlfriend who loves dogs to she probably doesn't want to go see a superhero movie, but you tell her. I'm sorry, there's a lot of girls I know that are into superhero movies, but that wasn't always the case. Anyway, it's true. It's the truth.
No, I'm gonna tell you, my wife is gonna see it because of the dog. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Exactly. There's a lot of girls that will see this movie because of the dog.
And for us, it's gonna pinch something in our hearts because we both have dogs. The same way Guardians did for us with the animal stuff. So yeah, man, Superman Legacy will be fired.
And on James Gunn being the GOAT, here's the other thing. Guardians of the Galaxy, the game came out, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. That game was so fire. But here's the other thing. Do you think that game would have ever come out if James Gunn didn't do Guardians of the Galaxy?
God, no.
That's the type of commercial success and reach this man has. So the fact that
he did with Peacemaker, bro. He made Peacemaker relevant. I know. James Gunn is a freaking genius, bro.
I have it's in my closet if you want me to go grab it. If not, it's all good. But
go ahead. I wonder what he has, guys. I'm excited to see what bro has for us, man. But yeah, man, I'm so bro. James, when I tell you guys, I'm shivering, not shivering, but I'm getting chills right now thinking about what James Gunn's going to do with the DCU, bro. Dude, Superman Legacy is going to be a top 5 superhero film of all time, bro. Oh my god, we're going to forget who Henry Cavill is after this movie. I am so in for this. What you got?
This came out last week. You're going to tell me that isn't made out of John Cena?
I agree.
So, this guy just, he does something and the market reacts to it, is my point. And very few directors have that kind of effect. It's similar to the way, Travis Scott or Off-White is on a sneaker, and next thing you know, sneakers that are similar to Travis Scott sneakers. If you're into sneakers, you'll know the Mocha Jordan 1 was successful because of the Travis Jordan 1.
Yeah, and James Gunn is a marketing genius. He understands culture, and I think that's the biggest thing is that and it is the fact that James Gunn understands culture, because I feel like there are a lot of directors that understand culture in our superhero space, but they go activist. James Gunn understands culture and makes it trendy, and that's why Guardians works so well, and that's why Superman Legacy. I left for 5 minutes, and now we're talking about hip hop, and now what? I
said Travis Scott.
Oh, Travis Scott, yeah. Oh, yeah. And and what I think James Gunn is going to do with Superman, he's going to do similarly what he did with Guardians. Guardians brought back the old school. You know what I mean? My dad loves Guardians. One of the reasons that drew him in was the old school music. That's what made, and that's been a Guardians theme. And I think that with Superman Legacy is going to bring back a Christopher Reeves type of Superman. And when I say that, I'm not saying Christopher Reeves himself because I think he sucks as Superman, but I seriously, he's terrible. Yeah. But when I say a Christopher Reeves type, this Superman Legacy movie is going to be classic. It's going to be beautiful music. It is going to be people getting saved. It's not going to be much fighting. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fighting in this film. I think that this movie is really going to be based a lot on Superman just saving people. And I have nothing against that being an intro film. I really don't. This movie is really going to focus on that. The Batman bringing back the Nirvana song. Yes, exactly. Bro, the Batman, the Something in the Way from Nirvana for Batman was a staple for him. Bro,
by the way,
it went viral on TikTok, bro. Everybody was playing that.
It still does. You know who Batman never actually fought? The Riddler. They never got into a physical fight at all. They didn't. And I think that speaks so much to world building, which I think that's what Matt Reeves did really well in the Batman. And
another GOAT.
And I think you're going to see something. I don't want to say I mean similar, and I do mean that, but I don't want to say similar because I don't think that Superman Legacy is going to be it's similar in tone or anything to the Batman, but I do think James Gunn is going to do a lot of world building. I think you're going to see Jimmy Olsen. I think you're going to see Lois Lane. I think we know you're going to see Lex Luthor. And I think my personal take on Superman villains, I think Lex Luthor is the most important one because he is the biggest villain in the Superman world. Whether, he's fighting him and there's a threat and everything like that, all that aside, Lex Luthor is key to the Metropolis Superman ecosystem.
Yes. And Lex Luthor is the greatest villain in DC. You guys can say he's not. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I'm telling you, bro. Lex Luthor is the greatest villain in DC.
I don't know about that
one. When we rewatch the animated Justice League film, you're going to be like, yeah, he's the GOAT.
Listen, I love Lex Luthor. I love him, and he's definitely one of my
bro. In the animated Justice League show, bro, he's the GOAT. Like, I don't care what no one says, man. He's one of the best. He's one of the best.
The Joker, Deathstroke, Ra's al Ghul.
They don't hold a toe to Lex Luthor, bro. I'm telling you. Superman has the best villain. Let's see what. Yeah, Superman has the best villain. The Joker is better objectively. I don't think so, man. I don't think so because the Joker is just the same character 24/7. Lex Luthor is smart. He built armor to go against Superman. There's a whole plot where he was dying because of the fact of his exposure to kryptonite. He ends up becoming a being at a point. I mean, Lex Luthor has a lot to his bag. That
the Joker's smart.
Yeah.
The Joker is always, a lot of the times he's out planning Batman. He tricks the entire Bat family into these crazy games. I mean, he's taken over Gotham City. He's taken all of Bruce Wayne's money. The things he's done are insane. And he is a master plotter.
I get that, but I think that Lex Luthor is like Tony Stark, but just more serious. And I think that there's just more depth to Lex Luthor as a character than the Joker. I can't seriously dig into the Joker's origin and actually care. But with someone like Lex Luthor,
you're not supposed to know the Joker's origin.
Exactly. But with someone Lex, but with someone like Lex, he's his brain is so complex. He's a very hard character to understand. You understand that he hates Superman and why he does, but the things that he does are just kind of nuts. And it's and he kind of suffers the best way to describe him, if I was to use Marvel characters, he's like if Norman Osborn and Tony Stark were merged into one person. And to me, that's one of the most interesting characters.
The Joker is the only villain ever that loves his arch nemesis. The Joker loves Batman. That's the whole point. And the other comic you really need to read is the Three Jokers because
Lex wants to be Superman. So I mean, it's similar stuff.
Wants to be him is very different than loving him.
Yeah, but
the Lex admires Superman.
Yeah, but what are you going to take? Are you going to take craziness or precision? I'm going to take precision every time.
Yeah, but I just think the Joker, he is so unique and one of a kind, and there's nothing else out there that is. The only thing that is somewhat comparable to the Joker is the Green Goblin, and the Green Goblin, the only thing that's similar is that he's kind of crazy and he laughs, and they kind of look similar. But other than that, they're very different. You really need to read the Three Jokers, and I don't even want to give it away. It's a graphic novel. It's not that long.
I'll start tonight.
It is fucking crazy, and I'm pretty sure Jeff Johns wrote it. And I know people like to hate on him because of everything he did with WB.
Oh, Pop Call King agrees with you. Oh man, it's all good. It's all good. I think Lex is the best villain of superheroes, man. That's my opinion. But I'm going to read that tonight, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to send you the episodes to watch in Justice League, and then you tell me if he's more interesting than the Joker, or if you at least see why I feel that way. But
okay.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. It's getting pretty late. Thank you guys for watching and listening. This will be posted tomorrow as audio per usual. the usual. Please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you know when we post. Have a wonderful day. Stay crispy. Peace out.